it's Dr. Jan with some wise words to work with. And today I'm going to talk to you about bystanders and trying to get a supportive or strategic ally if you're a target of workplace bullying or you're in a toxic work environment. And strategic or supportive allies are those people that you can go to, that you can work with, that can help you manage and reduce the traumatic effects of workplace bullying. Okay. And so you have to find people in your organization or your agency. Hopefully you can find people in your organization or agency that you can use as a strategic ally. Okay. If you can't, you can find people outside of your agency that could be a go-to in times of crisis. Okay. Ideally, you have one, maybe even two people in your organization that you could work with as a strategic ally. Okay. What I recommend is that you make a list, okay, of people in your organization and your agency, and then you cross off, obviously you're going to cross off anybody who's bullying you, and you're going to cross off bystanders who have actively engaged in bullying, okay? And then you're going to narrow that list down to hopefully a few people that you could seek out as strategic allies. So if you've documented and you've kept your documentation and it included other people's reactions, go back and look at that and find people who have not openly and actively engaged in bullying. Okay, so let's say you find one person who has watched you be bullied but has not said anything. Okay, that is a potential supportive ally. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to watch what they do for a week or so and see how they're engaging with the bully, how they're interacting with you. And really what you're really looking at is, again, for lack of a better term, is to see where their loyalty lies. Okay, there are in fact bystanders in organizations that will watch but won't participate in the bullying, and sometimes they can be used for your benefit as a supportive ally. Okay, and so then you want to sort of put a little bait out there and try to engage in a safe space, be that at work or be that outside of work, and talk to them about what is happening. Okay, and sort of get their feelings on what is going on. Okay, and then eventually, if you feel comfortable, you want to ask them if they will be your supportive ally. So you've screened them, you've looked at their loyalty to the agency, to the bully. Have they openly and actively engaged in bullying? And you want to see if they've ever intervened on your behalf without you even knowing it. Okay. So let's say that there's nobody in your organization that you feel like can be a supportive ally. Then extend your net, so to speak. Cast your net a little bit wider. Is there somebody in another department? Is there somebody in another agency that you could use as a contact or a person that you could go to in times of crisis to help you with your stress level? Okay. Again, ideally, you want somebody in your organization where the two of you can work together to better manage workplace bullying. Okay, so once you've really screened that person out, you want to approach them about being your supportive ally. Please do it in a safe space. Okay, be that at work or not at work. And then what the two of you want to do is, because you have to have your documentation, you've identified high-risk times, what you want to do is develop some strategies where you can work together to reduce the amount of bullying that is happening. So I was a target of workplace bullying. Unfortunately, I was also a bystander of workplace bullying because there was more than one target in my organization. And there was one person in particular who really got bullied. And she would often become defensive. And you maybe have heard this story again before. But she would become defensive, which would make her more vulnerable, and the bullying would increase. The two of us worked together to develop some, again, what I call neutral responses that she could go to in those times where she felt her emotions rising. And if you've ever been bullied, we all can relate to that, where our emotions are rising because we're being bullied and we're being hurt, and we feel those emotions inside us rise. When she would feel those emotions rise, we developed a whole bunch of statements that she could pull from that she didn't really have to think about, that would allow her to regain control of her emotions, but also still engage in the meetings where she needed to be involved. Okay. That really helped reduce the amount of bullying because she didn't become defensive. So she would say things like, I understand what you're saying. That's interesting. Or she would repeat back what they said to her. Let me think about that. Things like that were de-escalating rather than escalating. Okay. The other thing we did is the two of us worked together, because sometimes when you're in those meetings, and if you have more than one bully, which she did, okay, it's not that just one person is coming at you. It's that several people are coming at you and they're rapid firing abuse at you. That's hard. That's difficult to take for most people. And when those things would happen, again, because it would happen so quickly, her emotions could skyrocket immediately. And then when I would see that, again, when she would become defensive, because sometimes you develop strategies where you're in a situation of bullying, and because things are so toxic, intense, and hostile, they are not always successful. So sometimes, even though we had role played and we had worked together to try to get her to keep her emotions down, it just doesn't work. So we developed a system, is that when I would see that and she would become defensive, I would just tap on the right side of my glasses. Okay. Nobody knew that except the two of us. And that would tell her to go back to her neutral responses. It also let her know that I was on her side and that I had her back. And in those tense meetings, that was really important. The other thing we worked out is sometimes, even though I was a target of workplace bullying too, sometimes just interrupting or coughing or getting up when things were tense and people were rapid firing bullying and abuse at her, those sort of distractions would cause and decrease the tension in the room and decrease the bullying. So sometimes I would interrupt or interject to get the focus off her and onto me. And that's something you can do with your bystander, is to work with your supportive ally for distractions or ways where the abuse can be distracted to reduce the amount of harm that you're experiencing. And I know some of those things seem small, but when you're in a toxic work environment, and just knowing somebody else is on your side is really, really important. So again, try to find strategic allies and screen and talk to them. What are they willing to do? What are they able to do? And then the two of you can work together to reduce the amount of harm that you're experiencing at work. And I found just having someone that I could talk to about what was happening at work, times of crisis, when I felt like I just couldn't go on, that was really beneficial. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Please share if there's anything that you'd like to share with me. And I understand that workplace bullying can be difficult to share. You can always email me at jan@stopbullyculture.com. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.